Welcome back to the Wondercat channel. Today we're going to be covering the first of hopefully many Pauper lists. As seen in the title of the video, we're going to be covering Argomon. Argomon stood out to me as a cool Digimon to build because of its uniqueness, digivolving up but still keeping the same name. Their inherited being able to give multiple memory on deletion means swinging into a tapped Argomon or having it die when checking security will always generate you some sort of value. Also, luckily for us, there's a level 6 Argomon that was printed as an uncommon, which allowed us to play the deck. With all that said, let's jump straight into the list. So, starting off with our rookies, our level 3 little guys, the way we all start our turns, the deck runs 4 copies of Argomon. Of course, the BT-17 Argomon. This one's kind of a given. A level 3 that on play allows you to dig 3 for another Argomon and its tamer card, Rhythm. We're going to be discussing Rhythm a little later. This card is pretty much the driving force behind the deck and is usually the way you will get to your Rhythms faster. We will also be playing 3 copies of the B2 Argomon. This one is just a basic vanilla Digimon. It's not super great, but it's a 2-cost level 3, which is nifty, allowing us to Digivolve up, move up that ladder a bit cheaper. From EX8, Chains of Liberation, we're going to be playing a playset of Argomon, its similar sounding brother, the purple-green one. Argomon in this deck is actually pretty funny. It's almost never a card you want to throw into Raising since it costs a 1, but its on-play effect is incredibly beneficial to us. On play, Argomon will suspend any Digimon, yours or your opponent's. This will combo incredibly well with some of the other cards as we go through the list. The Inherited of Retaliation is also solid, but hasn't come up particularly often. The last card we will be playing is a singular copy of EX3 Pomumon. This last slot is kind of a flex slot. I've recently put this in as another combo piece of sorts and allows us for some crazy late game plays, which is why we only play the one. If you don't have access to Pomu, you can also play BT14 Kunemon in this slot, which on play you may suspend it to dig 3 for any green card and add it to your hand. It's pretty useful. If you're not a fan of the EX8 Argomon, you could probably cut that down to 3 and mix and match these 3 Digimon between the Pomu and the Kune. They're all pretty good as support pieces. All in all, our level 3s are more or less just incredibly niche and quite weak support cards for the big boys. They don't really do anything on their own, but can impact the ball dramatically when played at the right time, making them actually pretty decent even when played late game. Onto the level 4s. Well, we might as well start off with our playset of BT-17 Argomon. This card is pretty underwhelming, to be honest. Its ability usually fails, but can come in clutch turn 2, turn 3 if Digivolving on board to get a free Rhythm out. The only problem I have with this effect is that most of these player tamer for free effects on Digivolving usually care about that having 1 or less. So, Argomon not having this particular clause really impacts its usefulness. As usual, its inherited of giving 1 memory and deletion is good. Nothing special, though. Next, 2 copies of BT2 Argo. It has no inherited effect, but can be digivolved into for free by using Digisorption. This is where cards like Pomu start to pop off. Being able to digivolve for free, drawing a card, then suspending an opponent's Digimon is pretty good, especially in early game. Due to the vanilla-esque abilities of the BT2 Argomon stuff, they are more so run in the deck just for the sake of consistency in name Digivolution. Hybrid Digimon are not this deck's forte, but the ability to have Pseudo Rush by digivolving on top of a tamer and swinging makes it worth running a single copy of BT6 Arbomon. Again, no inherited, which sucks, but it's kind of just one of those I top deck it and it helps me win type cards. Again, very niche situation, so we're only playing the 1 copy. The last level 4 we will be playing is a single copy of BT20 Diatrimon. Diatrimon? Yeah. A little expensive to digivolve into for 3, but on play or digivolving, you get to suspend an opponent's Digimon. Not super relevant. We're going to play this more for its yellow splashing and the inherited giving piercing, which is the true MVP of this card. Level 4s are arguably our weakest link in this list. They're wholeheartedly underwhelming, but that's kind of what happens when you're a teenager. You're going to have growing pains. Level 5s definitely make up for this, though. So let's start off with a playset of BT-17 Argomon. This card is absolutely disgusting. This card alone was one of the biggest factors in wanting to build around Argomon. An otherwise heavily costed card to play, but with a cheap alternative named Digivolve cost, and has the potential to even be Digivolved for free via tapping down up to 5 tamers, reducing its cost by 1 for each. There's more than that, though. On top of that, level 5 Argo stops your opponent's tamers from untapping or unsuspending during their turn, essentially freezing up your opponent's important onboard resources. This will put a pretty big target on level 5 Argo back. This card is actually that strong that in certain matchups or situations, in locking out your opponent, you sometimes don't even want to Digivolve up to level 6 because he just controls the board that well. But he has even more text. On deletion, if you have 4 or more Argomon in trash, play level 6 for free. Like, why even bother Digivolving? You just get to replace the body with a bigger one when he dies. It's great. It's fantastic. But even when you do decide to Digivolve on top, he's going to give an amazing inherited effect, being able to unsuspend this Digimon on attack by tapping down a rhythm you control, which combos with itself, which is just, yeah, it's just nutty. Level 5 Argo is just the chef's kiss. It's such a good card. It helps the deck run. I saw it run in a construct deck recently too, which gave me a good laugh. We also play 1 copy of the BT2 Argomon. This is where we have to make an exception to that rule. All the other BT2 stuff, pretty mid. This card, it's pretty cracked. Absolutely disgusting. Another Digimon with Digivolve can free Digivolve, no other crazy effects outside its inherited, of course. The kicker with this card's Digivolve allows us to essentially go from a level 4 to a level 6, costing almost nothing, and with its inherited, when attacking, you may play a level 3 from your hand for free, suspended. This card is limited to 1, and for good reason. The amount of value one could benefit off of this because its when attacking clause is not once per turn. Green being able to unsuspend and attack with the same Digimon multiple times just leads to way too many potential shenanigans. We play this card because card is busted. Busted card, good and cheap format. Who would have thought? We also play 1 copy of Blossomon. It's kind of like a generic BT2 Argo. Has Digisorption, allows us to Digivolve for free, which we always like, is also limited to 1 copy, so we will only play the 1. Next, we're going to get into the spice of things. We're going to be playing 2 copies of EX4 and Telamon. This card is a personal favourite of mine, Digivolving for 4 or 3 if you Digivolve on top of a Digimon with 2 colours, one of them being green, which is pretty easy for the deck to do. The card has Alliance, so it's one of the more aggressive Digimon in the list and can be a win con in itself. Alliance obviously also being able to trigger Pomu's effect and interact with other cards as well. This card is primarily played for its end of attack trigger, being able to recover 1 if having 3 or less security. I feel like despite the amount of control the deck has, it is rather fragile, especially in regards to its DP, so keeping up our security is a nice addition to the deck's top end. Again, this is a level 5 where we just don't really want to Digivolve on top of it unless necessary. His onboard aggression probably rivals that of our level 6 stuff. But finally, to our top end. 4 copies of the only level 6 Argomon that we can play, the BT2 one. This card is decent. It's okay. 11k, it's kind of weak as a top end. I've seen quite a few cards and tested against a few cards that hit that 12k mark, and just that 1k difference is really difficult for this thing to deal with. If you can get that 1 turn for this card to pop off, though, it will actually just turn the game in your favor really, really easily. So it's a level 6 Mon with another case of Digisorption, which means if you have a level 3 Argomon Digisorb into a level 4, you can tap a Digimon down. You may then Digisorb into that Argomon, Blossomon, or free Digi off of BT17 Argomon, tapping down a bunch of Tamers or another Digimon you control. Then Digivolving into the level 6 for 2, you tap down a 3rd Digimon if you were to be able to create this board state, which isn't impossible. You have a level 6 Argo that would be swinging for an additional check for each other suspended Digimon you own, totaling 4 checks at 11k. It's pretty good. If level 6 Argo dies, it's pretty backbreaking. It sucks. But hopefully between the potential memory gain on Inheriteds we have underneath, we can recover a little easier. Our other level 6 we run is 2 copies of Bancho Stingmon. This absolute beefy boy is actually weaker on average than Argo, which is not ideal, but he is kind of actually able to deal with bigger threats, which is amazing. Digicost of 3, which is you know, it's fine. Piercing, which is perfect, and a really sweet when attacking trigger. So on attack, he gets to check the DP of the Digimon he is attacking. If it's 12k or more, he gains an additional 7k and 2 additional checks. This Digimon is the perfect combo or cover card for level 6 Argomon. Essentially, we have two options. If we have a wide board, plenty of suspend shenanigans, we play Argomon, we swing, we make multiple checks. If something is bigger than Argomon, we play Bancho, we swing, we kill their big thing, we make multiple checks. It's like, he is that perfect, like, we have a problem, let's fix it. It's, But anyway, onto the supports and option stuff. We're going to be playing a single copy of Hidden Potential. Card's good. It's basically Digiabsorption on an option, but allows us to not pay memory at all to Digivolve into the level 6 Argo or Bancho. It's also limited to 1, so we play the 1 card, also combos with Rhythm. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Windslasher. This card is almost never used on your opponent's board, outside of some pretty niche instances. This card also works wonders with your level 6 stuff, being able to suspend your level 3s and 4s, whatnot, to unsuspend your level 6s. If you do use it on an opponent's board, it covers up to level 6, so it should be able to hit absolutely everything, because from what I can tell, I do not think there's a level 7 Digimon that should be in this format. The card also will combo with Rhythm. We're going to be playing a single copy of Calling from the Darkness, a cheap costed option that allows us to recur parts of the Argo line that we may need. What's interesting about this particular card and its interaction in the deck is being able to use it as a sack outlet for the BT17 level 5 Argo. If there's ever a situation where you may need to kill him off to play the level 6 in your hand for free, triggering all your on-deletion effects, etc. Yeah, just an interesting interaction we can have. It's also limited to 1, so we're going to play the 1. We also play 2 copies of Mist Memory Boost. This format doesn't allow us to play the traditional memory boost that we usually see in Constructed, since they're all given the promo tag, the little P. I was originally testing Dino Memory Boost in this slot, suspending an opponent's Digimon when played. It just didn't do much for this deck, and when finalizing the list, I realized just how much better this card is. On play, you mill 2, draw 1. This card fills your trash with more Argos for level 5 Argos on deletion effect, and can possibly help you recycle something later with Calling from the Darkness. We also play enough dual-colored purple stuff that we should never not be able to play it. It's a very solid addition to the deck and will help you combo out on turns when you're low on memory. Next, our removal package is going to consist of 3 copies of Heaven's Judgment. I expect this card to be one of the biggest staples within the format because of its flexibility. In this deck, we run green tamers, i.e. Rhythm, and with Diatrimon and Antilamon, we have a couple yellow Digimon to make sure we will always be able to play this card when needed. This removal piece also helps get over bigger things that Argo might not be able to deal with, or just generally frustrating cards. Playing multiple colors in a deck makes this card stronger, so being able to have even an Antilamon and Argo on board means that we can actually almost nuke an opponent's entire board off this one card. So it's pretty damn strong. Our last option, and funnily enough another limited card, will be Reinforcing Memory Boost. This card is great if we can hit it in security, it's great if we play it turn 2 after a Rhythm turn 1, or we just play it later on into the game when you need to recover some security. Storing 3 memory off a single boost is pretty friggin' strong, and I can see why it's limited. We can play it fairly easily, and is one of the reasons we try to splash what yellow we can into the deck for its playability. On to the Tamers, we're only going to be playing 2 unique Tamers, Rhythm and Battle NPC. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Battle NPC because whilst he is rather slow, he is a generic memory setter, and we can use him to fix an otherwise heavy level 3 hand into potentially better one by throwing that level 3 under him to draw a card. On top of that, he can also be cracked later on and sent to the trash to play that level 3 underneath him for free, which is pretty useful. It hasn't happened many times, but later on into the game, if your board gets wiped, or if you've got a couple of Rhythms and he's just sticking around, you can always just crack him, and you're just going to generate enough memory off of your Rhythms that the memory setting is kind of whatever. But now, we must finally discuss the elephant in the room, the card that brings the whole deck together, Rhythm! Oh my gosh, this Tamer is absolutely cracked. It is the, end-all be-all of this deck. It is the card that will just completely change the way the game and the way this deck plays. We do indeed play the playset, because why wouldn't we? During your turn, whenever an effect suspends your Digimon, you may suspend Rhythm. Whenever Rhythm is suspended, you gain a memory. If you control an Argomon, draw a card. Now, this also triggers off of yellow Agumons, but there isn't really a yellow Agumon that would fit this list, and I think the purple-green one actually works really well for the type of deck this deck is. But let's think about the multiple instances of Digisorption tapping down our Digimon to free Digivolve we have. We draw a card. Rhythm triggers. We draw again, gain a memory. You can play an Agumon, suspending itself, trigger your rhythms, gaining back that memory to draw additional cards to help find your combo pieces. Gives all your level 6 Agumons more suspended Digimon for bigger checks. You can play a level 3 Argomon, swinging with Antilamon, triggering Alliance for 2 checks, targeting your Argomon, triggering the rhythm, drawing another card, gaining another memory. You can attack with Bancho or Argo, play Wind Slasher, suspending one of your level 3s, unsuspending your Bancho or Argo again, triggering rhythm, gaining a memory, drawing a card. The night and day difference stacking rhythms early for this deck is monumental. If you can play one out within the first couple of turns, you will benefit greatly from this, and the value of 2 or more is insurmountable. I have literally almost decked out multiple times just because of how good this card is and how fast it is in terms of drawing power. As for the eggs, you pretty much... You really only have 2 options. You've got BT2 Argo or BT17. The more I played with BT17 Argo, the weaker the deck felt. You generally wanted to keep a blocker up, and in doing that, I would rarely swing with the biggest boy, and my smaller mons would get blown up, leading to a very stale kind of board and gameplay. BT2 Argo gives us much more flexibility in our memory gain, and incentivizes us to play more aggressively. If it's placed under smaller level 3s we keep on board, it's even better. It's fine too. So I'm more than happy playing the playset of BT2 Argos, and we can play the one BT17 just in case we might need a blocker at some point. Final thoughts on the deck, though. Incredibly fun, can be absolutely foiled to the nines, has a good amount of control and offensive capabilities. Whilst not the fastest in terms of speed, it makes up for in efficiency. This deck is, it's got to be a solid 7 out of 10 for me. Love how it looks, love how it plays. Don't know if it's going to win any events. I think this deck is definitely going to succeed a lot more against decks that are very tamer heavy or very tamer focused. I think because this format, there are a lot of archetypes that won't be able to be played nearly as efficiently because we don't have those rares, because a lot of our tamers are printed as rares. We'll have to see just how relevant it is, but I do think Argomon is going to be a pretty good contender for Pauper as a whole. But that's the list as it stands today. It is something that I've been working on for a couple of weeks now. Definitely having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you guys are able to build it too. The coolest thing about this format is obviously is going to be incredibly cheap to play. I think just on a couple of websites. I mean, you run through the bulk at some of your LGSs, you should be able to build this for free. Or maybe missing a couple of bits and pieces, but you know, this shouldn't cost you more than $10-15 to make. Foiling it out's a whole other thing, but I don't recommend it. You know, we're playing Pauper because it's cheap and it's fun. We don't have to deal with these big aces, the hand traps and stuff. So, you know, yeah, it's definitely more intensive gameplay as well in terms of really figuring out how to get a win out with such strange picks for cards. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video where we will hopefully be covering a blue Whales deck that looks to pop out 3 to 4 Digimon per turn. So that's definitely going to be fun to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you on the next video. Ta-ta!